don't know what I'm saying. Stop laughing at me. And hey guys, so today I'm gonna do all about Gemini. But before I do that, I have some exciting news for those of you who've been highly requesting that I post more informative threads and content on Twitter. It's always been really hard for me to figure out like how to find a healthy balance between informative content on Twitter versus memes and humor and lighthearted stuff, because I feel like there are so many different demographics of followers that want to see different things, so I constantly am like feeling like I'm not giving everyone exactly what they want or what they are searching for. So to make that easier on myself and on everyone around me, I'm going to put all of my informative content from now on Patreon. This is not to say that I'm never going to do an informative thread on Twitter again. I just feel like right now it's a lot easier to, I have so much going on that I feel like it's just easier to keep everything very oversimplified for myself in order to keep myself consistent. So using my astrology Twitter as kind of more lighthearted or light humored content for now, or maybe like some light threads on planets every now and then, like something just more relaxing for me to get on and find that, you know, maintain that love that I have for my Twitter that I started off originally using as a hobby. I want to still be able to keep it as a hobby, and I think when I take it too seriously, it starts becoming less of that for me, so I'm just going to be doing that. And then yeah, if you're looking for aspect patterns, if you're looking for more content about yods, if you're looking for more in-depth stuff about daily transits, weekly transits, monthly, what's happening this month in the sky, definitely go to my Patreon. I'm gonna leave that link below. I'm going to be posting all of this content on my Patreon, and I know a lot of people who hear about Patreon are familiar with Patreon. It's a website where you donate money monthly in order to keep the person producing content kind of like a donation. Like you donate to kind of pay your respects to the content, like someone's putting their hard work and time and energy into this content and that you have an interest for, so you like kind of monthly subscribe to them. It's kind of like how you monthly would subscribe to Netflix or Spotify. Now I do have two packages on Patreon. I have the I believe it's like the mermaid milkshake package, because you guys are my milkshakes and I am milk, so I was like, what better name for a tier, they call it tiers, like the packages, than milkshake. So I did a mermaid milkshake, which is a low cost of $1 a month. I believe it's like $1 or more, and that's going to be I believe monthly transits, fun content, light intermediate kind of stuff. And then my second package is $10 or more a month. It's called the Sailor Scout Milkshake. It is like the most fancy package you could have for only $10 a month, and it's just gonna probably have more intermediate content, but probably like the more intense stuff about yods, and I'm going to even be covering like asteroid apex points with yods. I know a lot of people have been asking about that, and I haven't been giving that to them. And don't worry, I disclaim a lot of everything, letting everyone know what is widely perceived as a yod in the classic or traditional astrological context. I don't mislead anyone, I don't give anyone misinformation. I'm very cautious of whenever I say something that I feel is edgy or innovative in astrology. I make sure to let them know that it's my thoughts, my perspective, my opinion. So what else can you get in the Sailor Scout Milkshake package? That is $10 a month. I think it's just like, yeah, weekly transits, which I feel like the other one doesn't have, and then just more intermediate content that you probably won't find much about online, or like easily accessible to Google at your own leisure. You'll find more stuff that's just more intricate and more detailed, and I feel like this way the people who've originally found my Twitter to learn and to educate themselves now have an affordable way to educate themselves and continue to learn and grow with me as I start this new venture. And yeah, so I'll leave that link below. I'm really excited about it. I'm a little nervous because I already have so much on my plate, but I really feel like this is something that I'm able to do. I don't feel like I'm promising anyone something that I can't deliver. And it's very important to me that I'm always consistent with what I tell you I'm gonna do. I want to always do. So that is, yeah, so I'm excited. Now let's dive right into our All About Gemini video. All about Gemini, 3 astrological facts about Gemini. We have, they are ruled by the planet Mercury, which is communication and technology. They rule over the 3rd house, again, communication, how we speak, how we talk to one another, what we feel or what we want to express comes out. 3rd astrological fact about Gemini is that they are, I'm an astrologer. They are an air sign, so they are very communicative, talkative, kind of like a social butterfly, very kind of lighthearted, wants to keep everything very fun and exciting, doesn't like to get too serious, doesn't like to be too, I don't want to say emotional, but be too dramatic or get too deep right off the bat. They like to keep things light and simple, and I guess that's my 3rd astrological fact, but I don't really feel like that's an astrological fact. But yeah, they're an air sign, okay? They're an air sign, that is their modality. They are also a mutable sign, astrological fact 4, I guess. They are a mutable sign, so they have kind of a more, not flightiness about them, but they are very restless. They have a lot of energy, and they can also be very fast-paced. I want to say, like, they're constantly moving at their own pace, at what they feel. They're constantly going through so many different paces. Like, you can never keep up with a Gemini. They are always on their own time. I envision Gemini kind of like the little rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, because they're constantly running out of time, but they're really trying to get somewhere, which is nowhere, fast. I don't know, but yeah, okay. Astrological facts. Okay, now we're gonna do Gemini pros. So 3 Gemini positives. First Gemini pro is that they are very exciting. They have such a unique way of visualizing the world around them, and they have a way of making you excited about how they perceive the world around them. And I feel like that's really interesting, because not a lot of times do we find ourselves really caring that much about what other people, not to say that we don't care what people feel or think, but I feel like it's very rare to actually be inspired by someone's perspective. I feel like it's not that common to be very intrigued by someone, and they're so like eclectic and fast-paced within like everything that they do, that it's really hard to not stop and just stare at what they're doing. There's always something very unique about them that just like slaps you in the face, figuratively speaking, right off the bat. They definitely are a sign that stands out. Second pro is that they can be very, very intellectually stimulating. You never really catch a dull moment with a Gemini. They're the most exciting and fun person to be around. So if you're definitely looking for a good time, or if you're just looking for someone to really take that conversation one step further and really bring you a sense of understanding or enlightenment that you weren't seeing before, definitely go to your Gemini friends. They will do that for you. And then third Gemini fact is, or pro, third Gemini pro is they are very, they're very dedicated, and I don't feel like we talk about this a lot. I feel like we give Gemini this like trope of having a hard time being dedicated to anything for too long, which sometimes may be the case, but at the same time, when they are dedicated, they put everything they have into what it is they care about so passionately that it just kind of sets like a theme for everything going on around them, and I feel like it gets everyone very enamored by whatever it is they're dedicated about in the first place, whether that's their relationships or commitments to someone, or whether that's something that they're passionate about, like a hobby, creatively speaking. Those are all things that I feel like just they kind of have a unintentional way of inspiring everyone around them without even really meaning to. They march to the beat of their own drum, and for some reason that is just really empowering and very stands out. It stands out. And then cons about Gemini. So first con is that they feel a lot of pressure to perform at times or to please everyone around them. They constantly want to make people feel good, make people feel comfortable, and sometimes this can translate to telling people what they want to hear, even if it's not always accurate. I feel like they're so set on making people feel okay and kind of pleasing other people. I sometimes view Gemini as like the court jester in like a royal setting. I feel like they're like the kind of like the clown, like everyone looks to them for entertainment, but doesn't really take them seriously. And I feel like because Gemini feels this pressure, they feel like they can't be as honest with others as they want to be. I feel like they get caught in this like need to entertain or perform for people, so they just don't remain that truthful at times. And I feel like when people find this out, instead of looking at it in a different way, like instead of being like, oh, maybe they came from a good place and I don't know, maybe they came from a good place but the delivery was wrong. Instead, people take it really personally and they feel lied to, and that's why a lot of times you see really negative content about Gemini being fake. But I don't think Gemini is fake. I think they just tell you what you want to hear because they feel like you won't listen to anything else, or that's what you would rather hear or care about most. So yeah, that's kind of a con. And then second Gemini con is very, very passionate, but hard time finishing tasks and committing to anything for too long. Get really excited about new ideas, but then just as easily as they pick them up, they put them down, and I feel like this can be really frustrating, especially if it's like a hobby or something that they are promising to do for people. Like say they get everyone really excited about a book they're writing, or like a YouTube channel, and everyone's really excited and everyone really just jumps on this bandwagon, but then Gemini kind of leaves everyone hanging, or just moves on to like the next new big thing for them. And this is a con because, you know, you're letting people down unintentionally, but at the same time, I guess you're also letting yourself down because you're not really following through with things that you started off wanting to do, and that's probably why they constantly don't feel fulfilled, because they never finish anything that they start. And third Gemini con is that they are, surprisingly, they're not really good listeners, which kind of makes sense because they're like ruled by the planet of communication, and you would think that communication, you know, stereotypically or dictionary textbook definition would be like communicating to people, listening and speaking to one another, and listening and then we're speaking to one another. But Gemini, or people with heavily influenced Gemini charts, they kind of just talk at you and when you go to speak, they kind of like will talk over you, interrupt, or just be thinking about the next thing that they're gonna say. I feel like Gemini has a really hard time in engaging in like what someone else is trying to tell them. And this can sometimes go for Sagittarius too, so I didn't really want to just pick on Gemini about this. Like, I know this isn't just a Gemini thing, but I do notice this heavily in a lot of Geminis, so yeah. And overall, this completes my all about Gemini video. I apologize that I made some of this video a brief big announcement video, but yeah, like and subscribe if you like this video, comment below if you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, tell me why, and I'll see you in my next video.